This week we are going to finish off the front porch of the Beachside Bungalow. I love how this turned out. I'm so glad I came up with this technique. So stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do here is apologize for the weird camera angles we're going to have in the video this week, because I know this is going to be kind of weird angles in order to have you guys where you can see. Right now you're sitting on the table, directly on the table in front of me. So this is the end of the porch and the front door is right over there. And I measured my first piece of flooring as best I could. I used my clear ruler and I measured. This was just under 4 inches. So I cut the first strip at 4 inches and then I cut off little bits until I got something that would slide in here. And it slides in really well and it's quite a tight fit. So we are going to spread this first strip on the back with just a little bit of the same wallpaper paste we used last week for the step and that we used previously for the wallpaper in the house. And I'm going to put this one on, and then I'm going to make sure it's really straight here, and then we're going to let this dry. And just in case any of this shows. Now I put the end I cut at this end against the house. Now I will come back periodically. I have this lined up right with the edge of the porch. I'll get some photographs here since I turned the video camera off. I want that piece to dry, just like we did the first piece on the step. I want this piece to be completely dry before we move on because I want this to stay in place when I butt the next piece of flooring up against it. And I know you really can't see much there, but there will be a photograph on the blog post, and hopefully the rest of this you'll be able to see better because we'll be in the front and angled differently. So I'll be back as soon as this is dry. Alright, the glue on the first strip has dried, and there are two ways we could go about doing the next strip. Because the next strip technically would have a little cutout to go around this post, because when I line this up with the edge of the post, there's going to be a little gap. I've decided to go the easier route on this particular spot in that I am going to glue my first strip even with this and then cut a strip later to fit in there. Since the edge where the pieces are going to meet is right at the edge of the railing, I'm not too concerned about that. If it was going to show more, then I would probably make myself a paper pattern and go ahead and cut the strips so that they would fit around this post. So what I have done is I've got a handful of strips that I have cut that are going to fit. I had to cut off that much off of, oops, where's the camera? Where, there you are. I had to cut that much off of each one to make them fit. So I'm going to, on this first couple, I'm going to be spreading my glue on the back of my strip. I'm hoping later on that I might be able to spread it on the porch, but I'm not sure. I'm going to be very careful that I line the front, the painted edge up with the front and the cut edge with the back. And I'm going to try not to get my head in here. And I'm not going to do a lot of strips at first. I'm going to do probably 4 or 5. And then I'm going to get a piece of parchment paper and my brick, and I'm going to weight down these first few. I don't want to put too many on and have them squiggling around with the wet paste. while I'm trying to work. That would be a good way to probably get a very messy looking front porch. And don't worry about getting a little bit of the paste on the fronts of your strips, because we are going to give this a coat of satin Mod Podge when we're all done. So I am going to go ahead, I'm going to fill in probably, well, I'll see how many I get in. I'll show you when I get back how many I got done. I'm going to work my way over a little bit, but the camera is right in my way and I don't want to take a chance on knocking my camera on the floor. So I'm going to put a few more strips in and then, like I said, weight it down with a brick, let this glue dry, and then come back and we'll work on some more. So I'll be back to show you progress in just a minute. All right, this is how far I got before I felt I needed to stop and let the glue sit. So now we need to cut a few strips that are shorter to go in front of the door. So in order to do that, I'm going to lay a strip upside down. I've got a craft stick. I'm trying to stay under camera, but this is such a weird angle. And then I'm going to line this up so that it's nice and straight with that. Has a slight overhang over here. And I'm going to draw a line. Then I'm going to cut on that line and double check. Just a hair more off. And now it's the right length. So now I'm going to reach over and grab more of these strips. And I am going to open my glue again. I forgot to do that. And let's put some of the strips in front of the door. So I'm going to line up the end. Let's see, I like that end better. I'm using that one I just sized. And cut off another one the same length. That's perfect. And usually for something like this where I know I don't need a whole lot, I'll just do them one at a time until I get past the door. You could measure and figure out, okay, I need X number to fill that space. But for me, it's just as easy to do it this way. Do another one. Line it up, making sure those ends are the same length, or set at the same spot there. And I double check my size every time before I put the glue on. So I am going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get myself to the edge of the door and then I'll come back and check in with you. All right, I've got all those strips in. Now I'm going to talk you through how I cut to go around the door frame. So this is one of the strips that's cut for this against the house. And hopefully you're seeing what I'm doing. If not, I'm going to turn the camera off after I cut this and redo with photos before I glue anything down. So the first thing I do is I line this up here and I make a pencil mark where the edge of the door frame is. Make sure you've got it right side up and you've got the side you want to cut off over there. Then I put it back against the wall and I make another pencil mark where the front of the door frame is. Then I take my scissors and I cut out that little notch. This is exactly how my dad taught me to do real like floor tile and stuff. So this is how his way of doing that. So that's how I do this. So there we go. And now that will fit. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to redo that with another strip And then I'm going to glue that down, and that's as far as I'm going to go now because this is starting to buckle up. Once I get that piece in place, I'm going to put a piece of parchment down over and put my brick back on. Once these have set up, I'm going to continue down across the front of the porch, probably pretty much to the end. And when I get to the end, I'll come back, check in with you, show you where we are, and we'll do the last view together. All right, for the next few seconds, I'm going to do something I never do, and that is I'm going to attempt to hold the camera in my hand and show you what I got done yesterday. I got the entire porch done, except the two pieces that need to be cut and fitted kind of carefully. Now, I did manage to damage my wall on the front of the dollhouse with the brick in two spots, but that's easy to fix. I just need to touch up the paint. It'll be fine. But this went really well. I was going to check in with you guys a couple of times, but it was so hot in my apartment yesterday. I had to have the fan running, and I can't record video with the fan running. It's too noisy. So let me turn the camera off. Let me get you sat down, and we will start working on this little strip between the first two here, right here. And then we'll work on the one on the other end, which is actually going to be the easier of the two. So I'll be right back. All right, so I've already cut a strip of flooring that will fit front to back between the pillar and the wall. But I need to figure out the right width for here, from there to there. So what I've got a piece of flooring that I cut off the end of one of them. I'm going to slide this under, oops, back here, and I'm butting it up against the existing piece that we put on yesterday at the edge. And I'm marking where, and you could use anything for this, any kind of spacer. I'm marking where this edge is here. And now I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to cut this strip, cut off this much off of here, so that then I'll have a piece that will fit there, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go mark this piece, cut a nice straight line that's strip of this that's this wide, oops, that's that wide, and then I'll come back and we'll fit it and then glue it in. All right, and that measurement on my porch was 1/4 inch, and let's see if this is going to fit. Yes, I can get that. I think I'm going to cut just a tiniest sliver off of the edge of that. It fits, but just barely. I think I need to cut. Let me turn you off and get this trimmed, and then I'll be right back. All right, I've got a piece now cut. It's just shy of 1/4 inch, and I've already tried it. It fits the whole length. So now I just need to put a little bit of wallpaper paste on the back, which I'm doing off camera because this is just a really tight space. So the floor went in really well. I'm going to talk more in the blog post about my approach to doing things like this, but I did like 3 or 4 pieces of flooring at a time and then let it dry and with a weight on it, and then came back and did 3 or 4 more. Okay, that's all wallpaper pasted. That way I have much better luck making sure that my floor stays straight and doesn't get cockeyed. And I don't think I'm even going to need to weight this down. I will come back and make sure it's down later. But there we go. That is in. So let's move to the other end of the house and see what we need to do to fit that last strip over there. All right, I have cut a strip of my flooring to the dimension that I need to fit between the house, the front of the house, and the pillar. And I lucked out by kind of jamming this underneath the porch railing. I have discovered that it's the perfect width. So I had exactly one flooring strip width left. So I'm going to go ahead and get this glued in place. When it's glued, when the glue is dry on this, we'll come back, we'll put a clear finish on, and our front porch is going to be complete except for those minor repairs, which I'll probably do off camera while I'm waiting for the glue to dry. So I'll be back in just a second. All right, I'm going to show you the beginning of doing the Mod Podge. We're using the satin Mod Podge that Plaid sent me. Now, I think ideally I would use matte Mod Podge for this project, but my matte Mod Podge is getting really empty and it's getting little stringy bits in it, so I don't want to deal with that on here. So I did this off camera already, but go through first with a nice soft brush and basically sweep the porch like you would in real life. If you were painting a real front porch or putting a finish on it, you would sweep it before you put your finish on. So that's what that step was. Now I have my Mod Podge in a little bowl, and I'm using one of the wonderful brushes that Plaid sent me. I'm going to be very careful up against the house, and I may or may not go back at a later date and put a trim strip along the front of the house. I'm leaving my options open there. I haven't decided. Once again, go with the grain of your fake wood, front to back, and just put a nice thin, even coat. Anytime we're using Mod Podge, we're doing a thin coat. Now, if you were not happy with how straight you got your boards on the front, you could go through with either a knife. I think I would do a sandpaper, sand them off, touch up the paint on the ends, and go, I'm just going to leave mine the way they are. I think mine are straight enough. So I'm going to finish this. I'm going to turn my fan back on because it's really freaking hot in here, which is why there was no video yesterday. Hopefully this heat wave will be over soon and we can get back to a normal schedule. I'm going to finish painting this, and when it's all done, I'll come back and we will look at the finished porch. So be right back. Well, I love how the porch turned out. It is completed. The only thing I haven't done is glue the step onto the front, which I think I addressed last week. That is not going to happen until this house has a display board to sit on, because I find these steps to be rather fragile as far as gluing them on and then having to move the house around. So that's going to wait. But for now, it can just sit in front of the house loose and it'll be fine. I absolutely adore this floor. I think it turned out really good. It turned out just as I had envisioned it before I started. And I'm glad I came up with this alternative to the wood, because this looks like weathered wood. And that's what I was after. It doesn't look new, which again, that's what I was after. I wanted this to look like it had had some age to it. Be sure and check the blog post for photos and my thoughts. I talk more about the process over there, and hopefully I got some good photos. I know this is a difficult area to see on the video because it is very cramped quarters. If you like the video, be sure and hit the like button. Leave me a comment. What kinds of projects would you like to see in future videos? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, be sure and hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.